This is The Stash, and you're listening to the Business Bottom Line Podcast, coming to you from the Jewel City of the Mountains, Greenville, Tennessee. We're in the foothills of the Smokies, talking business with people just like you who are responsible for the bottom line, sharing business tips to inspire, inform, and improve, and turn your bottom line from red to black.
Hello, Jason.
Jason, hi. Bill Richards here.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you. I'm going to give you a little introduction, and we'll just go at it. I know you got a little information that we need to hear.
Yeah. You certain thing we're talking about? Or just...
Well, we're talking to small business owners. I'll just set it up this way. We're always talking to small business owners, so things that are appropriate for them to be concerned about as we walk through just a couple introductory questions, ways that you can help them see risk and talk about what you do. That's kind of where we'll go with the conversation, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
All right. Tonight, we're welcoming a special guest to the Business Bottom Line Podcast, Mr. Jason Miller. He's the owner of UnBound Digital and provides business IT solutions in Johnson City and all across the area. That's home base. Been serving Tennesseans since 2000. Wow, almost a quarter of a century there, Jason.
Yeah, really.
And works with small businesses and all sizes, not to categorize him, but provides cybersecurity and all types of IT solutions. And he's been taking care of us for the last couple of years or so. And I know that he is married with a couple of boys who are 10 and 12. Is that right, Jason?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and now Rachel works with you in the company. She's the CFO. Is that right?
Yes, she's our CFO and takes care of all the money. So.
All right. Well, it's good to have someone that you trust in that spot, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's her background as with CPA firms and stuff like that. It's really benefited us very well to have that kind of knowledge here and. Being married to her, it's trust is there, so it helps out a lot. So.
It surely does. Well, let me ask you this question now, right off the bat: Android or iPhone?
Definitely Android.
Definitely Android. Okay, man after my heart. I always ask that, and people are always one or the other. It's never like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you get on the platform, it's hard to change, isn't it?
Yeah, it really depends on what you're used to and things like that. I mean, being in the tech world, Android is a little bit more allowing of things and some apps and stuff that we run to do network scans and some other stuff that we do as a business. So iPhone likes to take away the ability to do things on their platform that we like to do. So that's why they give you choice, Android,
there you go.
iPhone. I don't put down either one of them. It's a
Sure.
choice. Just like a Ford or Chevy or anybody else, it's always a choice. So.
Well, there's different strengths and weaknesses for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me, are you a reader?
No, I'm a big podcast guy. I don't really have time to sit down and read, so I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Not a reader. Well, I usually ask if there's a favorite book or a book that's really important to you. But so tell me if there is, and then you can add to it one of your favorite podcasts that you listen to as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't read, but I do Audible. So all the Mike McAllowitz books are really well. Profit First and Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, and several of his other books are really great. Also, The E-Myth is a really good book. Several business books there. And podcasts, I listen to a lot of tech podcasts. I don't know if anybody else would be interested in those, but IT business podcast and some of the Mike Tech Show and few others there. I listen to about 20 different ones, so I won't go into all of them, but those are probably a couple of my favorites.
So you sound like you're taking in info regardless of where you are pretty much all the time.
Oh, yeah. If I'm in the car, I'm usually listening to a podcast. Some days I like to jam out on the radio, but, kind of keep the knowledge flowing. So
Yeah. Utilizing all the times of the day, every moment.
Oh, yeah.
Well, any hobbies that you enjoy in your spare time? I know you don't have a lot of spare time with what you do, but
Yeah. My biggest hobbies are, of course, I'm a computer guy, so computers kind of flow with that. Kind of back in 2000, my hobby was computers and turned into a business. So still like messing with computers a little bit, and that's kind of turned into more of gaming with my kids. I probably wouldn't ever game on a computer nowadays if I didn't have kids, but something we can do together. And then other hobbies are really just doing things with our family. I mean, it turns into basketball, baseball. Love baseball, so really like to get outdoors with the kids and play with that, and enjoy that a lot. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to enjoy things that the kids are interested in. Sometimes that's a little tougher than others, but it sounds like you've got it figured out.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's talk about what you do. Give us a little bit of background of how you got into your business and how the business started, and then we'll talk about what it is you do. And I know there's lots of things that people are going to want to hear about.
Yeah. I got into business just because I was good at computers, and just a kid. I took away part VCRs and TVs and freaked my parents out a little bit, messing with electronics. So I always tinkered. But then 2000, I kind of looked up got a name for a business and kind of started piddling a little bit with some home computer repairs. And then one of my buddies actually worked at a company, and he's like, "Hey, you're really good at this. Why don't you come over to my company and talk to my boss? I need some help." So that's kind of what really got me started, is he got me in there and started talking to them. And so, I had a full-time job. I was working in the engineering field doing mechanical design and stuff, machine, assembly line automations and stuff like that. So it wasn't always in computers. And so, but I did that after work, because most of those jobs I go off at 3:00 and I go work on computers after that. And just kind of started doing that. And in the engineering world, you get laid off quite often. So I got, steel prices went up and all kinds of other craziness. So business was really, kind of part-time from 2000 to 2006 was, it was part-time, and I was doing it as a side project or side job. And then 2006, I got laid off for the last time. I said, I'm done. So decided to go see if I could make it full-time and just do it. And so it ended up doing it. Luckily, had several business clients by that time. And then they kind of kept me going, and, just growing it from there. And started off with just me out of my wife now, but girlfriend's house at the time. Her dad let me use the upstairs of her house to repair computers and stuff. And so it started off there on a folding table and a pink and purple chair. And now that pink and purple chair goes with us to every location we've been at, kind of the symbol of the start of the beginning, But
Yeah.
And my wife won that chair, so that's why it kind of travels around with us. But either way, we basically run the business. We now have 17 employees, and we take care of hundreds of people's IT in the area on a ongoing monthly basis. And then we probably have a few hundred more that we take care of on what we call a break fix basis, where we they call us when they need us type thing. So.
Right. Wow. That's quite some growth in roughly 15 years there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, in today's world, everybody's concerned about cybersecurity and protection for both their systems and their online presence and all that. So let's talk to us a little bit about the risk from your point of view for small business, and that doesn't have to be as small as I am, but certainly in that world of smaller places that may not have an IT department themselves, which you provide that for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're basically an outsourced IT company, so we help businesses with one computer, all the way up to businesses that have close to 300 computers and 50 locations nationwide. I mean, we're kind of all over the place there as far as helping customers out, but it doesn't matter if you're that one person, one computer company, or you're for the 1,000 computer company. It doesn't really matter. You have to have good cybersecurity practices, and everybody goes, "What the heck, cybersecurity?" I keep hearing buzzwords, all that stuff, but basically it's just protecting your stuff properly and making sure that everything's in place to do that. A lot of insurance companies nowadays are really cracking down on people, and they're becoming our best friends. So I'm trying to get people, in line, because with insurance companies, they're the questionnaires they send now are actually kind of aligning with what should be happening in the industry. And a lot of people are still behind. But as far as, cybersecurity, I mean, it's not just, I was talking to a guy the other day and I said, this isn't the 1990s anymore. You can't do your own IT. There's just too much to keep up with. Used to, you slap a little antivirus on the computer, run some updates every once in a while, you're good. But now, just like anything else, the computers were barely a thing in the 90s, and hardly anybody had them. But now everybody has them, and there's so much more attacks and stuff out there nowadays, and people getting hacked, information stolen, and it's not just ransomware where it encrypts your files, but now it's ransomware plus extortion. One of the biggest hacks that happened here recently comes to mind is NVIDIA, which is a graphics card company. They broke in their network, and they have tons of cybersecurity guys, and they're really well protected. They broke in their network, stole all their intellectual property, stole a bunch of customer data, and said, "Hey, pay me some money if you want to get your files unencrypted." And then, two, if you don't pay us some money, we're going to release all your code and all your stuff that's proprietary stuff to your business, out to the web where anybody can see it. So, and we've seen doctors' offices where they get their patients' information stolen, and they basically extort them and say, if you don't pay us money, I don't care if you pay us to get your files back or not, but now if you don't pay us to get your files back, you're also going to release all your patient information.
Wow.
So they'll have full information to steal people's identities. They're just going to put it on the web.
Wow.
So it's not just worrying about getting your files encrypted anymore. It's about the way your business is going to look and the way your business is going to have to react whenever something like that happens. I mean, it's getting a lot more dangerous. I mean, used to, you got your files encrypted, and that makes for a really bad day. And if you can recover from that as a business and still run, you're doing good. But now, if you get all your patient information or customer information released out there, I mean, if you're a home loan company, some sort of dentist, lawyer, doctor, I mean, any of those people really have a lot of information on a person.
Yes.
Enough to steal identities, enough to, people take out loans and credit cards in their names and ruin their, basically identities. So you really have to protect your stuff properly. Some of the things we do out there, it's not just a antivirus and done, but we use, going back to the basics, we use a next generation EDR product, which stands for Endpoint Detection Response. And most of your insurance questionnaires now are asking if you have an EDR product in place. And if you don't, you have to get that, or, you may suffer consequences from companies paying for, a claim or something if you were to get infected. And I'm glad to see that on these forums and stuff, because it's really what people should be doing. And then you have to have a multi-layered defense. If you have a business, it pains me no more than anything to see somebody running a home, router in their business. You really need a security appliance if you're running a business.
Right.
Netgear routers, if you just Google Netgear router vulnerability, you'll see 100 of them. And that's a popular router. It's used at home. You don't want that in your business. I mean, it makes it so easy to steal information. So you really want a good quality, perimeter firewall. We do all kinds of other things out there too. I mean, can't go over all of them. DNS filtering, patching, monitoring. We now do some stuff with what's called a SIM and SOC. So it's kind of next level, where it's actually monitoring every event, everything that happens on every computer. And it's going back to a security operations center where people are actually seeing every event. And if there's anything triggered on that, we can react and stop it. So that's more of a high level security. We usually do that for people that have, a lot of compliance and stuff like that. And if you have these things in place, you usually don't have problems. But if you don't have any kind of security in your business, then you'll end up having a large problem. And sooner or later, it's just a waiting game. So,
yeah, and just talking about that can scare you to death as a business owner. So, and you can offer a consultation to help people understand where they are and things to put in a priority order to start addressing this, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to call me, we're more than happy to do a free evaluation. We walk through their business and see what all they have and kind of give, suggestions on what we could do to make it better. We don't have any salespeople, so we're not out there to sell you everything under the sun. We're just there to get you the proper solution for your size business. And, if you have a compliance or something like that, you have to have more security than if you're a business that doesn't have, some sort of compliance. But it's never a bad idea to have full security on any business.
Right.
But, it does add to cost as far as, what you're doing is how far you go. So.
Well, this is the kind of thing that comes under the old adage of pay me now or pay me later. Sometimes you can save $100 now and it'll cost you $10,000 later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's important, like you were saying, people who are following those protocols and have those things in place tend not to have the problems in the first place. So
Exactly. And it's not just about a problem. Typically, when an end user sees a problem on their computer, we could have stopped that or prevented that or had something in place before that, become a large problem. So monitoring all this stuff to take care of it is a huge thing there, and monitoring what's going on. I always tell people have people sometimes, the way we do our IT is we cover every computer in your business. We don't like to cover, 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
It's like I tell them, it's like, we'll lock 3 doors on your house and leave the 4th one wide open. It's the same thing. I mean, how much
doesn't really help the cause in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things, you can't really protect half of the fort. You have to protect the whole fort. So
that's right.
And so I mean, it's one of those things. And then if anybody had a guy earlier was talking about I want your cheapest plan. I said, well, we have 2 plans. It isn't about cheap; it's about doing it right. So So we try not to do anything cheaply. We basically put into effect what we think is the best way to do something, and then do it that way.
Right.
So.
Yeah, man, that's important because just getting something that cost $19.95 or $99.95 is not the issue. Getting the proper protection and the peace of mind that comes from that. I know since you've been working with us, and this is one of the simple things in the life of a small business owner. You worry about, oh my gosh, I come in this morning, Microsoft said they're updating again, and I've got to sit there for an hour and a half and wait for them to get through and then hope everything works. And you guys address that.
Exactly. Yeah, we push updates to computers. So, sometimes, in this past year, Microsoft's broke printers, they broke VPN connections, all kinds of other stuff on computers. So we manage those updates. We don't just allow a computer to take any update it wants. We look at the updates. We have a list that industry standard list that we vet these updates from. And then if they're bad and we see issues, then we block them. And then so your computers never get them in your business. And that's just basically, keeping more uptime for our customers and less problems, and then being more proactive. I tell people it's like changing oil in your car. You don't drive your car 300,000 miles and the mechanic looks at you and goes, "Why didn't you change your oil?" You probably wouldn't make it 300,000 miles, but without changing oil. But it's like you're proactive on your car. You change your oils, you rotate your tires, you put new brakes on it, new wipers, because things wear out. It's the same thing, same exact concept in cybersecurity. The biggest problem we have when talking to people is they think it's this magical thing, and they think cloud and all this other stuff. And, cloud, all it really means is somebody else's computer. So it's not really, it's has to be protected. And IT, when I'm explaining stuff to people, it's intangible. So you can't touch it. You can't see it. You can't feel it. So, when I put those new wipers on my car, I can see the results of my windshield's clear now. Whereas IT, I put this new security thing in effect, and it's like, I don't see nothing. So sometimes people have a hard time spending money on things they can't see, but they really should, and that they need in protecting their business.
Yeah, you're speaking to my heart. We sell intangibles every day in the insurance business. It's a promise for future claims control, and at the moment it's just a piece of paper, but later it's of great significance.
Oh yeah, and we always tell people we're your insurance policy. You never hope you have to use our full abilities of saving you from an attack or restoring a backup or any of this stuff, but it's there if you need it. And it's very, very, very hard to deal with. I mean, we've, and we have to have our proper tools to do the job properly. Just like, you sign all the paperwork, get the right coverages and stuff like that on people's insurance. We put all the right tools and stuff in place. And, when we have to put on the Superman cape and come in and save the day, we know, that we got what we need to do it instead of just like in the insurance world, you have a policy, somebody wrote you that's under, $50,000 policy, and you hit an $80,000 car, or something.
Right,
like that.
right, exactly.
So,
yeah,
kind of the same thing in our world. We got to have the right things in place to make sure we can save the day. So.
Yeah, and that's part of the commitment you make, and to doing your job with excellence is, like you say, you don't have a cheap version. When you do it, you're going to do it right, or you're just not going to do it.
Yeah. Our company, we are a security first company, so anything we do is focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something, we won't take on customers, and if there's customers that blatantly go against us, we will let them go.
Sure.
We don't have to do that very often, but we've had a couple of customers in the past that would just blatantly ignore things and put themselves at huge risk, which puts us at a huge risk.
Yeah.
And, it's like giving a teenager a car and they keep crashing the wall over and over again. It's like, at some point you got to take it away. So that's the same thing we had to do. We've only had 2 people that way in 20 some years, but they're just blatantly keep hurting themselves. And we it wasn't just like the first day we take it away. It's going back and training and talking to them, and this is what we should be doing. But they go against kind of our rules and stuff we have in place to protect people.
Right.
And putting computers on, they go buy computers from local stores and put them on there, and not let us know that they're buying computers, or they go buy all their network equipment in place, and it's like, you don't even need this stuff you're buying. It's like, quit. So it's just become a mess, and we cause problem after problem. It's like, okay, if you can't listen to us, we got to stop this.
Yeah.
So,
it's kind of like going to the doctor and then not taking the medicine that you've given, or else just going to the store and buying something off the counter because you like the looks of it instead of what the doctor ordered. So
yeah, exactly. Kind of same premise, but
yeah.
And not all IT guys are created equal. I'm not saying we're the best people in the world by no means, but there's a lot of IT companies even here in the Tri-Cities. And I won't name anybody out there, but we come in behind other IT companies where people have had issues and struggles, and we show up, and in our heads we're like screaming at the top of our lungs, like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? So
Yes.
one of those things, it's like you just see it done so wrong,
Yeah.
and not even caring to do it right, but they're portraying themselves as an IT guy or company, and they're not even doing their customers correctly. So that's the thing that kind of irritates me a little bit is,
Yeah.
just like an auto mechanic. You can have a great auto mechanic, or you can have a bad one that doesn't really have to know what they're doing. You can have anything in between. So we deal with the same thing in our field. Just because they know a little bit about computers doesn't mean they know what they're doing to protect you properly.
Right. And that takes technical training. It takes constant education, which you alluded to early in the conversation, that you're always reading and studying and intaking not only just new risk, but how to address those in your profession. So those kind of things are really important to stay up to date, which is tough in today's world.
Exactly. And we have an internal training program in our company to where we're actually ingesting, the newest, latest, greatest threats. We're, the newest, latest, greatest, technology to protect people. We're always evaluating what we're doing, typically on an annual basis, to make sure we're still using the correct products and doing the correct things. So it's not just a set it and forget it type thing. You got to constantly be reevaluating your business. That goes for any business out there, not just IT. So if you have a small business, you should be reevaluating what you're doing on an annual basis to make sure you're still on the right track. So.
Right. That's true. Well, let me ask you this question. Now, this is a little bit more about your business versus the business you do. Sure. What's one of your biggest challenges in the work, in running a business? Is it people, technology, competition? What is your business challenge?
Business challenge. I would say our biggest challenge, probably allude back to when I'm talking about stuff that's intangible. Trying to get customers to do what you're trying to convey to them, and not necessarily do, but stay within the guidelines of what we're trying to protect them instead of going against us. Sometimes we call it, in our field, we call it shadow IT, and shadow IT is the stuff that happens by the end users, the customers, the employees of the businesses. They'll, hey, I want to go get me a new Alexa and slap it on the network. No, that should not be any compliance. If you have a doctor's office, you should not have an Alexa, a Google Home, any of that stuff in your business. Anyways, so because it's recording everything all the time, I'm not a big conspiracy theory person, but
it just is.
That stuff, it's just what it does. It records all that stuff, and it's not a HIPAA compliant device. So I'll have these doctors' offices, dentist, whatever, and we do a lot of it with HIPAA compliance, and they'll put all these devices on their network, and you come back in, it's like, what are you doing? We're getting alerts on that stuff. And like, oh, I want to be able to control my lights. No, you shouldn't even have the light bulbs. So it's, this is all this stuff you keep at home. So you want us to protect your business. You don't buy this, overseas Chinese brand light bulb that's going to get hacked in 3.2 seconds. So shadow IT would be our biggest challenge. We try and educate our customers, make sure they're not doing that, but inadvertently, people like to do that all the time.
Yeah.
They think it's okay. Hey, I got internet. Let's just plug it in. So I'd say that's our biggest challenge. So.
I see. Okay. Well, what is your view of the future? Kind of how do you see the future unfolding in business, at least in our geographic area? Is there any insight you have that you want to speak to that? Just kind of a broad sense.
Yeah, broad sense. I think our area is growing quite a bit, and it's opening back up a lot with COVID numbers way down and stuff. So I'm glad to see all that. As far as looking in the future, I'm definitely not a future teller, but I think it's looking bright. I've seen a huge uptick in our business in the past probably year and a half, and with all this stuff kind of dwindling a little bit, it's helped out a lot. But if you're a small business out there, I'd say definitely keep going. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we always try to end up with the best bottom line business tip that you can give. We have our listenership is not large, but it is business owners. And so we try to bring something to the table with everybody's perspective is a little different. But if you were going to give your best bottom line business tip, let's wrap up with that.
Yeah. If your business is starting off, my best tip to you would be make sure you have a really good accountant, a really good bookkeeper, something along that lines, even if it's outsourced to a CPA, making the money flow, making sure you do something like the Profit First from Mike Michalowicz is a huge help in a small business getting started. That's one of the biggest tips I could give is make sure that you know your numbers, you know your money, and you have somebody that can handle that you trust. Because you won't go anywhere without having those things managed first. And then, everything after that is, a lot easier to do if you had those things in place. So.
Yeah. So true. That's a great tip. Well, listen, you've been a wonderful guest. We appreciate you taking time to talk to us, and we hope to see you soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Bye.
Bye now. Well, that's a wrap for today's Business Bottom Line podcast. Take that tip and make your bottom line turn from red to black. Next week, we'll talk with another special guest, and we'll see you right here next time in the Jewel City of the Mountains, Greenville, Tennessee. This is The Stash saying we're here to inspire, inform, and improve your bottom line so you can grow, grow, grow.